Movies are being released almost simultaneously in theaters and DVD, and on cable, pay, or on demand. Will we see this trend accelerating, especially with first run? Will these movies be released through online models as well as pay or demand?
Sure. So this question really gets at the heart of the studios have done a great job. That you know, kind of the saying is you never buy a title from a studio, you rent it. You lease it for some period of time. And so the studios have created windows so that they can take the same title and sell it to different folks at different times. And they've broken those windows out over geographies, over time windows. And it's a very, very smart system for the studios because what it does is it optimizes their revenue. And so they look at these windows. And where you see the studios adjust the windows is where they can make more money. And that's a good business move. So I would answer this question is if they think they can make more money by moving the online windows up, they'll move the online windows up. If that moving the online windows up upsets their home video revenue from DVD sales, if that online window moving up upsets some of their cable operators or other type of relationships they may have, then they may not get that right away. So it's really up to the studios, and it's really up to the function of their business of where are they going to move that. And so I think one of the things that studios are concerned about, and one of the reasons that they're moving their windows up a bit, is A, they notice that a lot of the revenue from online downloads happens in the first few weeks of the release. There's somewhat of a myth of long-tail content. Long-tail content doesn't get downloaded a lot on online retail services. It's nascent in terms of revenue. And so what does get downloaded a lot is the tentpole movies in the first few weeks that they come online to service. And so the experimentation is, the closer we move that to theatrical release, the more awareness is out there, the more revenue we generate. And so the right thing is figuring out the magic way to line up all the different windows to generate the most revenue. And so we do see that as online becomes more significant in terms of revenue, more people are downloading, it becomes a bigger piece of the pie. Those constituents will have more negotiating power, and so they'll be able to push the window further and further forward.
How does Netflix online and set-top box film delivery fit into the models you discussed?
Sure. So it's really a convenience model. So if I have to go to my computer, download the title there, then schlep rock some cables over to my TV and put it in there, there's probably a good chance I'm just going to flip over to the VOD on demand and take maybe a limited set of movies, but take one of those instead. Oftentimes you want to watch a movie because it's the end of a long week and you just kind of want to relax. So I think we're having a nice box that's integrated into your living room where your whole Netflix queue is available for you. You click and you watch it stream. It's a very compelling consumer experience. And so what we're seeing there is consumers are starting to go over to their friend's house to see the convenience of Netflix. And they go, I want that too. And so whether you're going to get that experience from Blockbuster with some of their device plays, or you're going to get it through Netflix, or you're going to get it through iTunes, it's really a consumer preference. But the resounding thing is make it easy for the consumer and give them a wide selection of content. And when they get that content, make it a high-quality experience. And so we're starting to hit on all those bases right now. And so as we're doing better and better a job as an industry of covering that base for the consumer, we're seeing more and more consumers come in and the revenue lift.
What do you envision as new forms of content that will be available for sale online?
So the big category I want to highlight in new content for sale online is games. Games. If you look at all the numbers, I believe gaming has passed theatrical in terms of revenue. And so you see things like multiplayer games, which have a reoccurring subscription model to keep playing the game. You see casual gaming, so things like Bejeweled. You see gaming and collaborative gaming like Bridge and other things online. And so these are incredibly popular forms of entertainment for lots of people. We're now getting them in different form factors, so you can see you can start playing these on your devices, on your TV. You don't just have to have a hardcore gaming PC to take part of this. So you'll probably see one of the largest sections of growth will be in the gaming. That'll come in casual gaming, and then the more hardcore gaming, as well as in the multiplayer gaming. So those are the areas where I would see that it's new content that's very popular. The other area, just to highlight, is you're seeing some, it's typical content, but it might have a little bit more of a community feel to it. So you are seeing some artists and things take their projects direct to their audience. And you're seeing that they're asking for donations or they're asking for subscription. And those models, while it's kind of the same content, you're not necessarily paying just for the songs as a band. You're kind of paying to be part of the community, get the bumper stickers, wear the T-shirts, be really, part of that organization. And so that's kind of another unique trend that we're seeing more and more traction with, is that these kind of artist-direct communities are getting a lot of traction.
I'm putting together a business plan for a social networking community around a very niche business. I'm having a very difficult time finding pricing information for the subscription side of things. Any hints where to look?
Sure. So that's a little bit of a vague question on the subscription thing, but what we find with subscriptions is I can point to two things that work well online. One is if you have scarce content that people really want, don't charge $5 for it. Charge $500 for it. It's very scarce. People really want that content. Charge more money for it because you're going to have less orders because it's niche. And so if you look there, you probably want to try starting at the high end of the pricing and then start backing your number down until you see a pretty good set of orders continue to come in. And so that would be my advice there on niche type things. Don't think that you're going to get hundreds of thousands of orders. Plan your model around a few thousand orders, but at a higher price point. See how that goes for you. As far as being a membership site, so some examples out there would be like Match.com, which is a dating site, which does very well in the subscription pay-per-view. That really comes down to how much of that's one time and how much of it's recurring. So the ideal thing in a subscription model is that you get a recurring price point. And so historically, those have been either in two categories, like a $4.95, $9.95, and there's $24.95, and then really at the high end of monthly subscription fees, like that $39.95. Anything beyond that, you're really going to have to get into a business tier. Consumers probably aren't going to pay out of their own pocket something more than $40 a month, at least what we've seen. What they're really going to want to, do is have their company pay for that. So you do see subscription sites that are, even several $1,000s a month when it's a corporate sponsorship. So some examples of theirs, Thompson, for instance, in the financial services industry, runs a lot of continuing education type credit models. Ketley Media Group is another example of the B2B marketplace. They run continuing education programs and things that are several $1,000s a month in a subscription model, but the corporation underwrites that because they need their doctors or lawyers or accountants to be up to date on all the continuing education, so they pay a little bit more for that. So my advice here is the great news about the web is you can change a few pixels and be back in business again. You don't have to reprint a bunch of menus or anything. So I would experiment with a bunch of couponing, a bunch of different price points, dynamic pricing models, and see where you get the traction. If you're not getting any traction at all on any price point, then you go back to rule number one. You got to create demand before you can get people to buy.